Cobra/Portal 2012, the Forces of Light and the Forces of Darkness. Positive groups. The Galactic Confederation, also called the Galactic Federation. This is a confederated union of disengaged positive civilizations in this galaxy, as the Pleiadians, Sirians, Arcturians. Its leaders are the Ascended Masters, beings that live in an enlightened state of consciousness. The Ashtar Command is a section of Galactic Confederation which primary function is to free the Earth from the clutches of the dark forces. They have many physical motherships in Earth orbit that are cloaked with a tachyonic membrane and are therefore non-detectable for all optical instruments/radar cabal. They often prevented by nuclear war on Earth. In addition, they have prevented many earthquakes because they stabilize the activity of tectonic plates. Their main motivation is to share happiness and love they have achieved as a result of their spiritual growth with the population of the Earth, which is not so fortunate. There is a strong disinformation campaign against the Galactic Confederation, which began in the mid-90s when the Cabal realized that Galactic Confederation was a serious threat to his plans of the New World Order. Many contacted on Earth by the Confederation were subjected to intense mental programming by Monarch Program. In reality, the Ashtar Command was transformed into a trigger word to activate denial for Tessalters. This program also resulted in most channels lose contact with the Swiss and began to inoculate channel astral energy instead. This served to denigrate additionally ducts as a reliable source for information of higher dimensions. Today, there are very few reliable channels, but it does not change the fact that Galactic Confederation is a very strong and reliable force that will become known at the time of first contact. The Resistance Movement. This is a group of freedom fighters who live in subterranean dwellings on top of the Earth's crust. They have a constant physical contact with ground Pleiadians bases in the Himalayas and on the island of Bora Bora. Its official contact with the public is Cobra. With the help of the Confederation, they eradicated all remaining reptilian forces in the solar system. Shortly after the year 2000 they also cleared all subterranean reptilian bases in major battles. Later, they changed their focus towards clearing most hidden military programs and related technologies, which successfully made. After that they put their agents inside the military agencies and alphabet to help the positive military group in its plan that is bearing fruit now. The main motivation of the resistance movement is to help liberate the planet, so they can stop living in caves and spending for potential missions in other parts of the galaxy. Positive military. This is the strongest positive group on the planet's surface. They developed the planetary release plan with the invisible help of the resistance movement. About 3/4 of the armed forces are in agreement with this plan, and this is the critical mass for this plan to become reality. Drake is their public representative. Most of this group is not aware of the invisible hand friend of the resistance. Some people at higher hierarchies are well aware of their contact with the resistance, but will not admit it because still be classified as confidential information. This is a decentralized group and without a leader, and his main motivation is to restore the sovereignty and freedom for the human population, particularly in the US. Templars. Also called Faction 2 or sometimes White Hats. This group comes from old European nobility that was almost wiped out by the Rothschilds. They have a strong power base in the US Navy, UK and continental Europe. Your contact with the public is through the Lord Blackheath. Currently they are very involved in the creation of new financial system through an alliance of 134 nations. They cooperate with the positive military group. Its main objective is to overthrow the US Federal Reserve and destroy the Rothschilds, their old enemies. They should not be confused with Zionist Templar groups that are part of the Rothschild faction, although there are some Rothschild agents infiltrated the positive Templar group. Mixed groups. White Dragon Society. This group represents the interests of some old Chinese royal lineages, supported by many martial arts groups around the world. Your contact person is Benjamin Fulford. Their main motivation is to bring down the Cabal, but their motives may not be completely pure, seeing the role that they imagine for themselves in the new company after the event be too dominant and controlling. They also have a strong financial interest in funds that will be released after the fall of the Cabal. In fact, The resistance had some problems with them in February 2012 in the secret negotiations on the new financial system, and this resulted in some delays in timeline online event. The Gnostic Illuminati. This group comes from the old Russian nobility and was actually part of the Cabal a few generations ago. After the Rothschilds destroyed the Romanov dynasty, this group broke with Cabal and decided to fight the Rothschilds, although they still use the same Illuminati symbolism and part of its ideology. Its purpose is to destroy the Rothschilds as revenge for what happened to the Romanovs. They have a strong contact with the underworld of Russian and Eastern European crime, and they are also in contact with the Templars. Its spokesperson is Alexander Romanov. They are heavily infiltrated by agents of the Rothschilds, and this group will be drastically restructured and cleaned after the event. Negative groups. The Rothschild Faction. They controlled Europe, high finance through the Federal Reserve and the American media. Their leader is Jacob de Rothschild, and through trade links with Henry Kissinger they influence Rockefeller Faction. By David de Rothschild and his marriage with Olympia Aldobrandini they influence the faction of the Jesuits. The black nobility of Europe except Italian belongs to this faction. They are masters of darkness, especially Regalians of origin, and were responsible for the fall of Atlantis. Their main motivation is to rule the world, but now their motivation is to keep at least some money, maintain control over the media for as long as possible, and not be arrested. The Rockefeller Faction. They controlled the U.S., oil trade, pharmaceuticals, food production and the military. They smuggled Nazis to the U.S. and therefore they are also called Illuminati. Their true leader is David Rockefeller, who lives in a small apartment on East 65th Street, NY, and has nearly 100 years. Along with VOLKSF rear George Bush Sr. and strategic advisor Heinz Kissinger at his side. They are mostly draconian lords that used to have many reptilian slaves in their galactic empire, and they wanted to repeat the same on Earth. Thus, their main motivation here was to create a dictatorial world society of slaves. Now his main motivation is to escape to a small island in the Bahamas with at least a backpack and not be arrested. The Jesuit Faction. This faction was very powerful until the early 1800s when the Rothschild faction took control. About 10% of the Jesuits belong to this faction, among them cardinals, Black Pope Adolfo Nicholas, White Pope Joseph Ratzinger, and the families of the black nobility of Italy. This group was established in the year 325 at the Council of Nicaea, where Constantine created Christian worship, in order to destroy the Gnostic mysteries including Gnostic Christianity. She continued to thrive with the Holy Inquisition and still heavily infiltrated many Catholic organizations. Its main sphere of influence is South America and Africa. Their main motivation was spiritual control and oppression of humanity. Now their main motivation is simply to stay alive. After the event, there will be a purification of all traditional religions as they align with the truth.